Hello, world. My name is Daryl J. Bennett, and I'm going to redo today what I was supposed to do right on Monday. Monday was Money Mondays, and I did a whole like 15 minutes on the three things that you are doing or could be doing that could be stopping your cash flow. And I didn't realize until later. I looked at some of the comments on the live. Obviously, I wasn't looking at them in real time. I looked at them literally last night and realized, wait a minute, it was you couldn't hear me. We were testing out some new technology and the music was playing. Couldn't hear me. So I couldn't even salvage it to repost it because the platform we used with the background music wasn't right. Or I shouldn't say wasn't right. It had recorded the background music and not me. All right, so enough of that. That's why I'm doing Money Mondays on a Saturday, because I realized that I did it wrong. And I want to shout out the people that brought it to my attention, Henry and Sister Renee. Sister Renee actually was reaching out to me, even through private message to say, are you going to repost it? When are you going to repost it? So I appreciate people who are listening and watching and being a part of what we're doing. So that's why we're doing Money Mondays on Saturday. All right. All right. So let's not get caught up on the day. Every day is a day for us to glorify God. Every day is a day for us to receive more, to be open to receive, to be open to have more, to get more so we can give more and be more. Maybe that's the way that I'll start. I want to start by saying that for a lot of us, we've got to move resistance before we talk about accelerating, the gas, so to speak, in our life. Have you ever been in a car and you had the emergency brake on and you knew it because even when you put the pedal even down to the metal, you heard the roar of the engine, but it didn't move anywhere or it just lurched. So the problem wasn't that you weren't hitting the pedal. It wasn't that you didn't know where the pedal was. It wasn't that there was a problem with the pedal system in the car. The problem was you had resistance. You had massive resistance. You had a brake that was, if you had one of the old cars like my mom had when I was growing up with the stick, you pull that thing up. I would wonder if you pull it hard enough would the whole thing just come off. That's what it would feel like. But that one pedal, that one brake, that emergency brake could stop everything that the car was doing. And I want you to kind of have that in the back of your mind as we talk today. Do you have an emergency brake in your life that's minimizing, that's stopping all of the things that you're trying to do to move forward? Let me say it differently because I didn't quite say that as eloquently as I wanted. Do you have the emergency brake on in your life and it's working against all of the things that you're doing consciously, all of the conscious things that you're doing, where you're reading the right things or you're watching the right things and you have the right confession, and then you still feel like I haven't gone far? I've come to submit to you today, you might have the emergency brake on, and I want to show you how you can get it off. I want to show you how you can get it off. The first way that you can get it off is recognize that it's there. To recognize that, I once heard it put this way, God wants to bless you more than you want to be blessed. Away with this thinking that you've got to somehow fight to receive goodness. That you've got to fight and struggle and stress and strain. We were never created for that. We were never created for that. Excuse me. Phone didn't ring past 2 hours. Now I get focused on what I'm doing here. Phone ringing. Give me a second. Let me hang up on the whole thing, because I got to stay focused on my assignment. That's another thing. I don't want to go down a rabbit trail, but that's another thing. For some of you, you're so easily distracted. You're so easily distracted. You set a goal. You had a goal. You're January. You're all about the goal. That's all anybody's hearing you talk about, your vision board and all the stuff you're doing. And by February, what goal? What? Because something came in the way. I want to show you in real time what I just did with that phone is what you need to do with some of the distractions in your life. Some of the things that keep popping up. They keep popping up. Do you notice that every time you say to yourself, you're going to do something different, every time you decide in yourself, you know what, I'm going to finish. You know what, I'm going to finish that degree. Every time you decide, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and start the business. I'm going to do it. This is not the perfect time. Do you notice then? That's when the call comes. That's when the distraction comes. That's when stuff happens that didn't happen before. Don't think it's strange. I want to show you in real time how to deal with things that are trying to divert you off of your path. You ignore it. So one of the things that I said on Monday that I want to bring back to you to submit to you on Saturday, because I do remember this, and this is why I really wanted to get on Monday. I talked about how when you complain and you backbite and you have all these negative things to say about people, it stops your cash flow. I was talking a lot about that. I can't really refer you back to Monday's broadcast because, again, the music overshadowed it. But I will say here, what I focused on then, and I'll give a piece of it here, is how you feel about people, how you feel about life, how you feel about your finances is how things are going to flow into your life. It may seem really small what I'm about to say, but it's really big if you get this. I never met a wealthy person who has a big problem with road rage. Just think about that for a second. Don't get mad. Just think about it for a second. And people that do have a big problem with road rage, you know what I hear what they do? They hire drivers. They get somebody. Okay, maybe that sounds more uppity than what hire drivers. They will spend the money for an Uber or get on a bus rather than put themselves in a situation where every light, every car that comes by, they complain or they got something to say about it. That's stopping your cash flow. I'm telling you. I'm giving you the scenario of the person in the car driving. But how many times in life do you keep getting involved in disputes? This is one of the things I had to learn. I spent like 10 years of my life involved in constant disputes. And I realized and I recognized, oh, this is affecting everything else. I don't know if I gave this analogy on Monday. Bear with me if I did in another place some other time, but I want to give it again. My brother does carpentry. My father does carpentry. And I remember I went into one of the homes that they were working on. And I can't remember if it was my brother or my father, but they explained to me, yeah. I know you see the leak coming down here, but the source of it is up here. We went to a whole other floor and they pointed something else out. So I saw it one place coming out, but the cause of it was somewhere else. And I know it might seem a little bit weird, like, Daryl, you're talking about emergency brakes, right? You're talking about people who have road rage in the car. What does this have to do with my mindset around money? What does this have to do about my finances? It has to do everything with it. Because if you do it somewhere, you'll do it everywhere. If you practice, I'm going to turn this into a positive. If you practice gratitude everywhere, you'll practice it everywhere. I'm just so grateful to have a car. I'm grateful to be able to get cut off. Because there's a lot of people that don't even have a car to get cut off. If they had a car, they couldn't get in it to operate for themselves because of health issues. I'm so grateful and blessed and happy to be able to have my own car. I'm so blessed and happy and grateful to be able to drive the car. I'm so blessed and honored to be able to even hear the fact that somebody's blowing at me. Think about how your life would be differently if you did that. I heard a man once say, and this changed my mindset about things. I heard this man once say, he was dealing with homelessness at the time. He said, I see everybody every Friday rushing to get somewhere. And I had somewhere to be. That's what he said. So yeah, I get it. You're in the car, you're upset, you're angry, the traffic isn't moving quick and daggone it with all these other people and and this and that, but you got somewhere to be. And as I have mentors in my life that work with me around changing my attitude about things, and it's a daily process with me, y'all. It's a daily process. I came to recognize this is affecting everything else. And so one of the things that I really help people do, so let me get to how I help people. Mentorship, money, mindset. I do a whole program around this. It's a mentorship program, but it's mentorship, money, mindset. What do I mean? Well, if you let me guide you along the way, because I got the blueprint. I know how to do it. If you let me guide you along the way, the mentorship, I'm going to show you a different way of shifting your mind. I'm going to show you a different way of thinking. I'm going to show you a different way of thinking, of talking to yourself first and talking to other people, of operating, of communicating, of asking questions, You don't ask enough questions. That's why you don't get answers. Let me tell you something about people who are always accruing wealth. People like us, let me tell you something. We're always asking questions. Poverty mindset has a closed mind, always has an answer. What's not going to happen, and this, and this, that, and that. Wealthy people are asking how. How do we make it happen? How do we do it? How do we do it? Okay, so it hasn't been done before. All right, I get it. I understand that. But I don't want to talk about the history. I want to talk about the destiny. How do we get there? And then, right, if you seek first the kingdom, if you seek first the wisdom, if you seek first the understanding, then these other things will be added. You've looked for provision, but you haven't had vision. That's what I want to get you straight on. You're trying to do like my grandmother would say, Daryl, stop trying to put the cart before the horse. You're looking for resources, but you haven't gotten focused on the source. That's what I want to help you with. You might have many resources, but there's one source. There's one source. Oh, you better believe it. There's one source. I want to show you your divine birthright. You have a divine birthright. Success is not just a bar. It's not something that, this is some amorphous word that we throw out that somehow means that you did something throughout your life. It's your birthright. You were called to be great. You were called to move mountains. You were called to shake things up. You were called to not be conformed to the pattern of this world, to the thinking of this world, but to be transformed. That's what I want to help you do. I want to help you be transformed by the renewing of your mind. That's what I had to do. I had to be transformed. I had to be transformed out of the life that I was born to into the life that I was destined to. That's the journey I'm on. I'm on the intentional journey. I was born into one life, but it was another life I'm destined to. That's you. That's you. The question is, do you know the difference between where you were born and where you're destined? And are you actively moving along in that pathway? I want to help you think at a different level. You want to know something? And I don't usually say these words, but I'm going to say these words because this is how it came to me, and I can't take credit for it any other way. The Holy Spirit spoke these words to me. I don't use this often, but listen to me on this. The Holy Spirit spoke these words to me. And I heard it so deeply in my spirit, in the depths of my spirit. It was like a year and a half ago. And this is what I heard. Daryl, there is never a poverty of resources. It's a poverty of thought. And when I heard it at first, I wasn't trying to hear that. I wasn't trying to hear that. No, because I need the resources. I need the money. I need the money. I don't need another lesson. I don't need another memory. I need the money. I just need the blessing. I need the bless. Lord, let there be I need a blessing. What's the prayer, Jabez? Enlarge my territory. See that? Because I thought that way then. I didn't recognize that the territory had nothing to do with outwardly. It was all inwardly. It was all inwardly. And because his inward territory was enlarged, his outward realm expanded as a result. I didn't know that then. I didn't know that. I wasn't on that then. So my focus wasn't about the thinking. I needed the money. I needed the money. Remember what's that y'all, that commercial? I need my money and I need it now. J.G. Wentworth. I need my money and I need it now. I need it. Have you ever been there where somebody wanted to give you a lesson and you didn't want to hear it? You weren't trying to hear that? You ain't got go somewhere with that. Ain't nobody got time for that. But that's I'm trying to give you the context of when I received this. This wasn't a high moment in my life. I heard it so deeply. There's never a poverty of resources. There's a poverty of thinking. Now, I was in the midst of doing some other things at the time. And I already told you, I wasn't trying to hear it. And I was frustrated. And when the word came, I really wasn't trying to hear it. So I couldn't even digest it then. But I treasured the words. And later, as I began to think, and I really thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? It really is true. And I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to prove it to you right now on this live. Have you ever told your problem to somebody and they gave you one thing. Maybe it was like, oh, have you called this person? Or have you thought about this? Maybe they didn't even direct you to do something. They just asked one question and it changed your whole thinking around it. I'm gonna make it a natural problem. But let's make it a natural problem. If you were sitting next to Bill Gates, Elon Musk, or Barack Obama, one of those people, do you think it would still be a problem for you? Do you think somebody could think their way through it and say, you know what, how about do it this, and this way? So when I started thinking about it that way, I said, ooh. And then I had another epiphany. We always talk about the love of God, and the love of God is powerful. And we need to talk more about the love of God because we wouldn't have a lot of this stuff going on. But then I thought about this. I said, what about the mind of God? Think about that. Think about the mind that created all this. The mind of the universal intelligence. Just go with me for a second. The mind that put the cosmos into place, that put the foundations of the earth into place so that the water, I mean, even with all the stuff that's going on with the earth and the tectonic plates, the water stays within certain boundaries. The same universal mind that created the cosmos created the house cat. Like, think about that. Knows the number of hairs on you and I's head and has the plan for everything. Like, imagine that mind. Just for a second. Just go with me for a second. Imagine that mind. If you could tap into that mind, how would your life look differently? I'm not talking religion now. I'm not talking even a Bible. I want to get you past that. I'm talking word now. I'm talking the living word. How would your life look different? Like, for real. If you were able to tap into that, it's a word for it. It's called super consciousness. I wasn't up on that then. I didn't know that's what it was because I heard of consciousness, I heard of subconsciousness, hadn't heard of super consciousness. It's a scientific concept. That means it's a mind that knows everything that ever was, ever will be, everything that's ever been created is already there. Let me put it to you this way. When I heard this messed me up. Y'all, Saturday, so I could flow. I know I gave you 15 minutes on Monday, but let me flow a little bit. This messed me up, y'all, when I heard this. Somebody said, Daryl, when was electricity invented? And I said, I don't know, 1800s, 1900s. You know, I'm kind of thinking through my Rolodex. What would you say? I mean, I don't know. I came up with it. And he said, it's always been here. It's always been here. It just took people a while to figure it out. That messed me up because I was trying to go to Google, like in the middle of what he was saying. I was trying to get to Google, like, wait a minute. Yeah, when did electricity get invented? But he was trying to put me on another wavelength that it was always there. The ability to communicate was always there, the electricity. The ability to communicate wirelessly was always there. We just tapped into it recently. But it was here when the Romans were here. Think about that. Imagine tapping into that mind. That's what I'm learning to do now. I'm telling you, this is what I'm on the process of this. Trust me, I'm on the process of this. But this is how you see me succeed the way that I succeed. Now, when I think about prayer, it's not so much this religious experience that's just emotional and it just stays in the emotions. No. I need to tap into that mind. That mind that knows everything. Think about that. How would your life be different if you tapped into that? I don't know why I feel led to say this to somebody. Meditation is your key. Once I started getting more into this, and it's my spiritual father who spoke with me about it. Like, I know in the beginning, you're thinking about Eastern religions, you think about, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm talking about at the very basis. Meditation, all it means is to remember. I think every day you need to spend some time, well, you're already meditating. You already meditate. Problem is you're probably meditating on the wrong things, and that's stopping your cash flow. So I want you to get intentional about what you're meditating about. I want you to get intentional about what you're meditating about. What are you meditating about? The thing that keeps running through your head. You've been meditating. I met somebody say, I really don't pray. No, you pray. You just don't know you're praying. Because what you're uttering deeply in your heart consistently over and over and over and over, it's a prayer. It's a prayer. That's why we learned in law school when we address the judge, it's a prayer for relief. That's the words we use. It's a prayer. It's not a religious context. It's something deeply uttered to a higher authority. That's what you're doing. This is what I help people do. When I work with people through my mentorship program, I'm helping them think about differently what you're already thinking about. Just think about that differently. I help people repent for real. Do you know what repent means? It's metanoia. It means to rethink. Think about that again. Have you rethought that? Have you rethought that? We always think about repent as a negative thing. It's a great thing. It's a great thing. Repent doesn't necessarily mean I did something wrong. It just means I think about it differently. So you did it right the way you knew to do it right, but now you think it differently. Have you thought about that? How many times before in your life has something happened and you did it the way you knew to do it, and then you thought about it, and you said, you know what? I don't think about it that way anymore. Metanoia. I'm going to tell you how powerful metanoia is. Do you know in the entire scripture, there's only one man that's called unholy? There's only one man that's called unholy. The entire scripture. Now we can extrapolate and say this man was unholy, that man was unholy. I'm giving you only one person that scripture says he was unholy. And if it's somebody else, I encourage you to write me, email me, tell me, Daryl, you got it wrong. But I don't think I'm wrong on this one. It's one person. And that person is Esau. The writer of Hebrews says, don't be profane like Esau. Don't be obscene. Another translation says like Esau. Don't be unholy. Another translation says, don't be unholy like Esau. I'm like, Esau, of all the people that we can mention, wait a minute, all the people, wait a minute, hold up. Not Jezebel, who had dogs chasing after folk. Well, excuse me, I don't know if she had dogs, but she had dogs eating up after her, after all the stuff she did. Not the guy Manasseh, who was the king who had his children passing through the fire, which was a nice way of saying that he was sacrificing his own children to a fire god, and he was supposed to be the king of Israel. Yeah, none of them. Not Pharaoh, who went after God's people after all that, and you still going after God's people with chariots? No. Esau. I want you to read it for yourself. But the writer tells us that Esau was profane. Another translation already said was unholy. Another translation says obscene, who for a morsel of soup. Another place says stew. Sold his birthright. That's deep. Think about that. That's the only person in all of scripture. Can you imagine that? Of all of humanity, that the one person that gets called out for being unholy is Esau. That rubbed my spirit so the wrong way when I read that. It did the first time I read it, because that ain't right. That ain't right. Not all the people because according to my human understanding, not all the people that we read in the scripture and all stuff, really? But let's go further. The writer tells us, who through tears sought the inheritance, but never repented. One day, I'm going to do a whole series on the Esau epidemic. I'm telling you, I'm going to do a whole series. This ain't the time. This ain't the place. But what I just shared with you, if you get this in your spirit, it'll change everything. It'll change everything for you. It's that deep. And it hit me that deeply. Think about that. The one man called unholy was the one who was in line to be given the birthright that Christ would come through. He was the one in line for that. And he gave the whole thing up for stew. And what we're told about him is, we knew that he did that already. We knew he did that because we read it in Genesis. But what the writer of Hebrews is adds an addendum. For all of us who read the story and was like, God really gonna bless Jacob? Jacob, who bested him in the field to get the stew, and then kind of deceived his father a little bit, in cahoots with his mother, to snatch the blessing up from under him, and God's cool with that. But the writer writer of Hebrews gives us context. I'm helping somebody today. I'm helping you today. This is going to change your whole life if you get this the way that I received it. The context was that he lived his whole life and never came to metanoia. He never came to metanoia. Give me 5 more minutes and I'm done. I'm going to connect the whole thing to money, mentorship, and mindset. I'm going to connect the whole thing. This is the deep thing about the whole situation. Esau is not the representation of just a person. It's the representation of a people. Remember God himself said, Jacob I love, but Esau I hated. And people have a problem dealing with that, because what does that mean? God hate people? It's a mindset, y'all. Don't you see what I'm getting at? It's an Esau mindset that refuses to repent. Will come with tears, will come with words, will come with excuses, but refuses to repent. You know the Midrash? The Midrash, which gives us some narratives about some of the characters in the Bible, after the story goes away, so to speak. You know, I'm one of those people, when I finish watching a movie now, I'm on Google, I'm trying to figure out what happened. I'm on their Instagram because I'm staying around, lingering around the scene. So the writer of Hebrews is kind of like me. He's a Google man. He wants to know more. He's lingering around the scene, and he's pulling from the Midrash that tells us that toward the end of Esau's life, still he was trying to find a way to get the inheritance. That after Esau was dead, he had made amends with Jacob. Jacob had been made a great nation. That toward the end of his life, he died a broken man. Think about it. He was still trying to get the inheritance that he believed rightfully was his. The writer of Hebrews says the problem is, though we know he sought the inheritance. He didn't just seek it before. He continued to seek it. The writer's telling us this. He sought the inheritance, y'all, but he never came to rethinking. How many people? They got the government is the problem. The white man's the problem. Their husband is the problem. Their children are the problem. They got all of these things to point to, but they never came to a rethinking. They'll cry on a dime. They're manipulative emotionally. They've got all these reasons for why they have not succeeded, but they refuse to rethink their life. And they think they have a money problem. I'm here to say you got a mindset problem. It's not a poverty of resources. It's a poverty of thinking. You've probably cleared 250, 500,000. You may have cleared $1 million. You listening to me right now over your life. If you think about all the money you've touched, all the money you've touched. If you had better wisdom, think about it. You'd be further along. So I'm telling you would be. So Esau is a thinking. It's a thinking that I'm going to still go after it with the old thinking. I'm going to still go after a new thing. I'm going after new wine with old wineskins. That's an Esau thinking. It's Esau. Wonder, it was said, Jacob I love, Esau I hated. For the record, Jacob never stole his birthright. Esau gave that away, which is why the writer of Hebrews, some 4,000 years later, or however many at that point, is about 3,000 years later, was still ticked off about that. He bypassed everybody else through 50-some books in scripture and brought us all the way back to the beginning and says, let me tell you about Esau, who gave the whole thing up for stew because he was hungry. So no, Jacob didn't steal nothing from him. Not the birthright. He gave that away. And the blessing was connected to the birthright. So the blessing was already going to go to Jacob anyway. That was another thing I had to come to recognize. The blessing was always going to follow the person that had the birthright. Remember I said in the beginning, you have a divine birthright. You have a divine birthright. The problem is you're seeking the blessing, but you don't know the birthright. That right there. I came all the way to tell somebody that, and I didn't even know I was going to go there. I've never even said it quite like that before, but I hadn't thought about it like that. Right? I'm metanoiaing even as I'm talking to you, because which of us haven't been there, myself included? We've sought the blessing and not the birthright, and we've gotten them confused because we think the birthright is the blessing, but the birthright is the responsibility. Jacob I loved, Esau I hated. Esau didn't want the responsibility. He didn't want the responsibility. He didn't want that. He didn't want that. He didn't want it. He did want the blessing, though. He did want the blessing. He did want the private jets. He did want the yachts. He didn't want to do what he needed to do to get it. He didn't want to. I'm gonna go somewhere. He didn't want to do his work. He wanted to. Well, God will do it. Let me leave that alone. So as I come to a close, what do I help people do? I help you think differently about your mind. I'm telling you. I wish above all, I would, that you would get understanding. I don't want you to be unawares. I don't want you to be conformed to the pattern of this world. This world ain't got nothing for you. I'm telling you, don't have nothing for you. I'm telling you. I'm even learning and growing. Year and a half ago, I was talking about the stock market. I don't talk about none of that no more. I have divested from the world markets. I've divested from all that. I created my own economy. I'm telling you, I've divested from a lot of that. It doesn't mean I don't have a little bit of stuff here, a little bit of stuff there. I live differently. You live off of efforting. I live off of ease. I live in the garden. There's a garden. There's a garden. Man was always meant to be in the garden. Can I talk about your spiritual birthright before I get off? You were meant to live in the garden. Where the water came from where? The water just came from, it was a mist that water that came up from the ground. Man wasn't toiling. Man was working, but man was not toiling. There's a difference. There's a difference. The enemy has got you toiling. The enemy has gotten you working for money. I'll never say that. You'll never hear me say I'm working for money. How am I work for money if I'm working for God? Didn't scripture say you can't have two masters? Because either you'll love one and hate the other, or you will hate one and love the other. But you're working for money because you are working for money. But I want to get you off of that treadmill. Why don't you work for God? Why don't you seek first the kingdom of heaven and watch the blessings come into your life? Why don't you seek first the birthright and then you'll get the blessings instead of trying to just get the blessings and forsaking the birthright? There's an assignment over your life. And so part of your frustration is that you're not moving in your assignment. I had a teacher, I'll never forget her, Miss Clark. I will love Miss Clark to the day I go on to see Jesus, because Miss Clark was hilarious. Miss Clark was probably about 4'11", frizzy hair, nice. She had these nice gold frame glasses. And Miss Clark would say, and I can't forget her because she had the same name as my mother, Clark, but without the E. And she would say, I was in 7th grade at the time. This was her favorite line. And you know I have to remember it. If now I'm 37 years old and I'm repeating something to you that she would say in 7th grade, she would say, I'm going to get you because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. She would always say that, I'm going to get you because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I always see that in my mind when I think about our assignment. There's an assignment over your life. And no, I don't think God's going to get you, but life going to get you. Pain will push you until your vision pulls you. I had to experience that. I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want that to happen to you. So what is working with me look like? First, what it looks like is I'm going to be all up in your face because I'm going to help you change your mindset. If I could get you to think differently about what you already have, that in itself is going to take you to the next level. We ain't even got to get you to get more. Step one is to get you to think differently about what you already have. Could I get you to recognize that if you are breathing, if you're healthy, and you may not necessarily be there, but listen to me for a second. If you are breathing, if you're healthy, and you have the freedom to move wherever you want to move, you're more wealthy than most people in the world right now. Just that. If you have those three things, you're freely breathing, you're healthy, and you have the freedom to move when you want to move, how you want to move. That in itself, I'm telling you, right there has made you more wealthy than most people. Right there. If I can get you to recognize that you're already abundant, you're already blessed, you're already prosperous. You've overlooked it because you're so focused on your list of things that need to get done. But those lists of things won't get done unless and until you change your attitude and you shift toward gratitude. We got to get away from a separation complex where you're separated from everything. That was the problem with the serpent in the garden. That was the okie doke. No, you're separate from God. But if you do this, you'll get close to God. Not realizing you're already one with God. Now you undid something to mess up, to break something that wasn't that was already fixed. So there's a number going across the screen, 888-571-3989. I want you to call that number. I want you to text that number. If you say to yourself, and you're listening to me, you say, Daryl, that's me. You're talking to me. My mindset is messed up. My mindset's messed up, Daryl. It's messed up. It shouldn't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want it to be. But it's messed up. It's messed up because first of all, I don't have people like you, Daryl, in my life. I don't have enough people. I got one friend that's saying positive stuff. Yeah, I get that. But for the most part, Daryl, I don't have people like this. Everybody in my life is either trying to pull me back to the life I came from, or they're trying to keep me contained of where I am. And every time I talk about a big dream, somebody somewhere comes to slap it down. If I'm talking to you, you need to call that number. You need to text that number. You need to DM me. I'm telling you. If you're listening to me and you say, Daryl, you're right. It's not a poverty of resources. It's a poverty of thinking. Because I can think of many times in my life where I've talked to somebody about my problem and they help me think through it. If that's you, you already have a jump on most people. You already know the power of thought. Let's use your thought energy and let's make this a different year. I wanted to do this in June. I didn't want to do it in January. You tried it your own way. You tried it your own way. And I'm not going to say it hasn't worked. I'm going to ask you, how's that working for you? I'm saying it respectfully. How's it working for you? Okay, you had that goal. Keep it real with yourself. In January, when you set what you said, are you now where you say you were going to be when you said you were going to do it in January? If you're not close, you need to reach out to somebody. You're not going to get out of the problem with the same thinking that got you in it. You're not going to get out of the problem spinning around by yourself, balling it in your own head. We need to get you out of your head. Let's thought partner together. Let's strategize. In the multitude of counselors, there's safety. That's what Solomon said. And with many hands, a man wages war. Many hands. You've been trying to wage war by yourself. You've been trying to wage war as you and your wife, and you ain't even telling her half the stuff you got going on in your mind. You need a mentor. You need a coach. You need somebody that's going to help give you the blueprint. You need an accountability partner. You need a battle buddy. You need somebody that's going to push you. You need somebody that's not just going to listen to your stuff and then talk about at the end, yeah, you're right, and roll over to the other side of the bed. You need somebody that's going to remind you of how great you already are. You're the one that set this goal. You need somebody that's going to push you. You need somebody that's going to push you. You need somebody that's going to remind you that you better not give up on this. This is for your family. This is for your children. This is for your children's children. That's what you said. You said it when you wrote it on that sheet of paper. You need somebody that's going to show you how great you already are, that's going to push your limits. Away with people in your life that keep talking about the stuff you already know. You need somebody that's going to speak something into your life you don't know. That's where I'm at now. I already said it. If you talk about the same stuff we were talking about last year, I ain't got as much conversation for you. The most dangerous place you can be, listen to me, the most dangerous place you can be this year is where you were this year last time. Excuse me, last year this time. You know what I'm saying. I don't want that for you. You want to know how people say years went by. Years. How many times have you watched people years go by and they talk about the same thing that they were going to do and they never even barely took a step? Or they took one step, they took two steps, but they've been talking about it and they've been talking about it. And you kind of want to say, maybe it's a loved one, so you can't say it. Maybe it's a parent, so you really can't say it. But you kind of want to be like, do it or shut up. I'm tired of hearing you talk about it. If you know that person, give them the number. I'm serious. I help people poop or get off the pot. I don't know another way to say it. I help people get clear about the fact that, first of all, you don't even have a goal. The first step that I do with people is called a clarity call. A clarity call. You need clarity. And all you're getting, I need you to get understanding. I need you to get understanding. You've got education. You got knowledge. You got information. But you need to get understanding. So step one is let's get clear about what do you really want to get done. It surprises me how many people aren't clear about what they want to get done. That shows you it's not a goal. It's still a dream. That's really why you haven't put your feet to the fire yet, because it's been a goal. Excuse me, it's been a dream. I show people how to go from dream to goal to action. action plan. We're going to create a strategy. We're going to create a roadmap. We're going to get you there. And we're going to cut through all the fear in the process, all of the barriers, all of the self-limiting beliefs, all of the people that are telling you, I don't know. Do you really need him? You know what I mean? People that get, what they're really trying to say is, don't introduce an element that pushes you to think against the comfortability that I've helped you get settled in. Yeah, because he's gonna say something that's gonna shake your paradigm so much you're gonna realize that my thinking is part of what's kept you here, and I don't want to see that happen to you. So what I want to do is cloak it in. You sure you need him? You need somebody. You've been trying it for yourself for 3 years and you haven't gotten it off the ground. When will you get humble enough to get around somebody who's got the blueprint? You don't have the answer. If you had it, you would have did it 5 years ago. You would have got the degree 7 years ago. You would have built the business 3 years ago. We were at home. We've been at home. It was about, over the past 2 years, it was good 18 months where people were just at home. You had time then to do something different you didn't have before, and you let it go on. You let it pass. What do you have to show for it? A business, a brand, a system, a process, an intellectual property, something somewhere, or is everything you've ever worked for at any point in time money that you're putting in somebody else's hand? When will you start building your dreams? So yeah, that's the answer to, do you really need him? I need somebody. Right now, if I ask you to go through your phone and pick the 5 people who you deal with most, who you text most, who you write to most, who you call most, who you talk about people most. Yeah, don't act like you don't talk about people. Yeah, when you want to talk about somebody, who you go, yeah, those 5 people. I guarantee you're within $10,000 of what they do in a year. I guarantee you are. When we take the equivalent of all 5, I guarantee you are. I guarantee you are. You're probably closer to 5,000. You want to know why? Because it's a tribe you're connected to. It's a tribe you're connected to. The way you think, the way you talk, the way you act, the people you criticize. People feel comfortable with that. People that's barely making it, they feel comfortable with other people that's barely making it. I'm just talking the real. They feel comfortable with that, which is why they don't want you to break out of it too much. Because if you really start talking about growth and abundance and being a blessing, I'm not talking about for you. For you, like people say, well, I don't need a lot. But what if you need a lot to give a lot? That goes to show your thinking is wrong. Your thinking is wrong. I, as a kid, always had the dream of giving away millions. So I knew I was going to have it. So when I meet people that are like, I don't really need a lot, but you're still thinking about you. What if God just needed to give it to you so you can give it to somebody else? But you think you're being humble. I don't really need a lot. Not realizing that where you are, especially if you're saying that in America, especially saying that in a so-called developed nation, what you have is already a lot. You got 2 pairs of shoes. Why you got 2 pairs of shoes? You only gonna wear one at a time. You got a house. You got 4 bedrooms. You got 2 kids. Why y'all not in one room? So the same way you can look at somebody else, say they got a 20,000 square foot home, somebody could be looking at what you have. But that's why the focus shouldn't be on the paper dollars. It's got to be on the impact we're having to the world. Now, this is what I want to ask you. How would your life be different if your mindset was different? If your mindset was different. Now, this is how I do. I'm a little bit different. I didn't used to do this, but for coaching with me, I come see you for 8 hours. I don't care where you are in the world. I come see you. That's starting July 1. I have to set that up to do it the right way because I can't do this the way I want. No. I got to come see you. I want to see you. I want to understand you. I've already been doing this to some extent, but not systematically the way that I want to. So part of the process is I come see you for 8 hours in the day. That's how we start it off. That's how we kick it off. Right now, I've been having people come see me in New York because this is where I'm headquartered. But now I'm going to be able to start because people will act different when they come to your abode, when they come to your city. I need to come see you in your natural habitat. Because I'm telling you, it's your thinking. I'm telling you, it's your thinking. I promise you, it's your thinking. And I'm about to get off here, but I want to help somebody. It's your thinking. It's your thinking. You don't have a money problem. You got a mindset problem. It's your thinking. It's your thinking. It's your thinking about your life. It's your thinking about your circumstances. It's your thinking about the people around you. It's your thinking about the people around you. How many times will you bypass the people that are right in your phone because you're trying to get to somebody else talking about, oh, they can help me here, or there. You got people on your phone that can help you right there. I'm telling you, if I saw it once, I've seen it a million times. People who go to these so-called big name schools, the ones from Jewish families, they come out of those big name schools, they work for their fathers, they work for their uncles, they work for their cousins, unashamedly. Because they say in their mind, we're building our community, and before it's all said and done, I'll own myself. The ones that went to the big name schools, Black, Hispanic, I'm gonna just come from a lot of cultures. Unfortunately, in America, they ain't really had much. They look down on that. I ain't about to work at my father's business. I came to Yale so I could be, such and much. And so you went and worked for Chase. All right. And how did that happen for you? Now, 10 years into your career, you can't move up. You talking about racism. You knew when you went in that your name was never going to be on the door. You got a thinking problem. It's not a money problem. And then the ones, I'm telling you, then the ones that people laughed at, like, you're going to work for his father. Yeah, he and his father cleared $20 million the other year. Because, they went to these schools, but they went to these schools to come back and strengthen their communities because they have a different way of thinking. Let me give you another example. How many times you got people at your own church, who are professionals, who are experts, but all you see them as is brother this and sister this, so you don't go to them for support, wisdom, you definitely wouldn't pay them for it because you think it's supposed to come to you for free. It's a thinking problem. Whereas the Jewish people, the Hebrew people, you got to respect the fact they'll only do business with people that are their own faith. That's why I had to start backing away from people. You're so strong in your faith, but you do business with all of these type people. And like, wait a minute, hold up. Shouldn't you go to your community first? If I'm gonna be biased with it. If I'm gonna pay somebody, I'm gonna pay for somebody that I know that our money is going toward the kingdom of heaven. But I understand that's different though. My mindset's different. One, I'm not coming to you asking for you to do it for free. I'm not coming to you talking about, well, we go to the same church or da. What does that mean? We go to the same church, so I should know your value even more. So I want to pay you double because I know how great you are. But you see, it's a mindset thing. And I came to recognize, I was like, what's really happening is people are looking for provision, but they don't have vision. And that's why they keep getting stuck. And you think you need more money, but what you really need is you need a different way of thinking. You want to know, let me give you another example, because I'm going to keep giving it to you so you get it, so you really understand in your spirit. I was working with someone, and I said to her, you know what? I can guarantee this. She's twice my age. Wonderful, wonderful person. I said to her, I guarantee this. You don't have a money problem. You don't have a money saving problem. You have a money hoarding problem. She said, what do you mean? How much money you got sitting around? So she began to explain to me the different monies that she had. It's not just sitting around, sitting in bank accounts. Well, why don't you deploy that? You're looking to build your own business. Let's deploy that. Let's deploy those funds to get you technology, get you some systems, get you some automation, get you some innovation, pay for some things that's going to help scale your business. I mean, if you have enough money to live to 3 to 6 months, what is all this other stuff? And I kind of helped her to realize that you're looking for more paper dollars, but you're not really efficiently using the ones that you have. You don't have a saving problem. You've got a hoarding problem. You got a problem where you're trying to hold. So let me end with my offer. My offer is that if you reach out to me over the next week, wait, what's the next week? Oh, this is going to be the June 20th, because June 20th, everything shifted. This will be up. This is a spring offer. I like that. Spring and spring. You heard? You need to spring before June 20th. So before so up till now on the 19th, I will be offering mentorship to people at half the price that I normally offer it at. Instead of the the 5 or 2,500 that we would be doing, 2,500 a month. So it's not quite half. It's about half. It'll be 1,500 a month, and it'll be 2 for 1. That's what's going to make this different. I've come to recognize people do better when they have someone else that's in the room. You need somebody else in the room. So this will have to be 2 for 1. This is how this works. The commitment for the 1,500 is that I am going to work with you over the next 30 days, and your entire life is going to be transformed. If you say to me at the end of the month, you know what, Daryl, ain't nothing changed. I was broke when I met you. I'm broke after the month. I was struggling when I met you. I'm struggling now. I'll tell you what I will do. I will work with you at no cost for as long as it takes until you've at least recouped 1,500. But that's not going to be your story. That's never been anybody's story that's worked with me for any amount of money. Because what I help people do is change their entire way of thinking. It's not the paper dollars ultimately that's going to draw the most from you over the month. This is what people tell me when they work with me. Really, like this, it ain't the paper dollars. The paper dollars is only to show that you're invested in it, that you're in it. Because let me tell you something. If you're 75% in, you're 100% of the way out. You got to not have excuses. You got to not have excuses. So it needs to be a price that reflects the fact that you're serious about getting started. That's pretty much, if you do the math, that's about $50 a day. That's what I'm saying. $50 a day over a month to change your life forever. I'm going to change the way you think about your money. I'm going to change the way you think about your talents. You know, talent was a denarius, was a monetary currency. I'm going to show you how to change the way that you can even speak to yourself. Do you know that money was never really connected to jobs? You put that in your own mind. Those of us that are really doing well, we recognize it's not about the job. It was never about the job. Jobs aren't biblical. Work is. Jobs aren't. That's another thing. Middle class isn't biblical either. You either poor, you were rich. But I don't want to get into all that right now because I don't want to make this about paper dollars. What I want to make this about is about life calling, is about purpose. Because that's what this is about. So you can be free to do what God has called you to do. That's what this is about. Because if right now somebody called you and said, we need you to spend a week at such and so place doing the work of God, could you do it? Could you do it? First of all, would you have to ask somebody somewhere to get off of work? Isn't that ironic? You got to get off of work so you can do your work. And I don't want you to have that. You know, jobs are a conception that came out during the Industrial Revolution. You didn't have the concept of a job before. There wasn't even a such thing before. So you got all these people working in stuff that they don't have no business doing. So that's one of the things that we do is we work together. We try to figure out, first of all, are you even in a career that aligns with your calling? I'm not going to say that's step one because it's not step one, but it's one of the first things that we're going to work on. Because sometimes it's not so easy to get people out of that career, but we want to at least get you to recognize this ain't a career that you're ordained to be in. Yeah, I work with you on that. Can I just say something? I need to say this to somebody. Do you think you could tarry with Jesus for forget 3 months, 3 weeks, even 3 days and not think the same? Jesus was so much of a mastermind that if you spent 3 hours with him, you walked away and you were never the same. As my Father is, so am I. That's what I'm growing to be. That's the type of people that I'm around and the training that I'm receiving. I'm not just here to give you some information. You can find that on YouTube. I will shift your whole way of thinking. You'll never even see your life the same. That's what this is about. It's about spiritual transformation. I don't want you to be conformed to the pattern of this world. I want you to be metamorphosed by the renewing of your mind. Transform. That's what I help people do. I'm going to ask you questions you never had asked before. I guarantee you. I'm going to ask you some things about your life you've never had asked before. But answers are the employees of questions. You don't have the right answers because you're not asking the right questions. You've just assumed in your mind what can and can't happen. I was working with a group in South Africa. The lady said for her to do what she needs to do, she believes she needs 10,000 American dollars every month. And I said to her, have you considered somebody will put that money in your hands so you can do the work that you need to do? She said, I haven't considered. I said, will you consider it? Because you've already automatically in your mind decided that you got to work for it and you got to work at that job and you've already put the number of hours and you've already priced yourself out the game. And I come with one question to shatter that whole paradigm that's kept you stuck. One question. And the question I asked was, have you considered that someone will give you the money? She said, I haven't. Will you consider it? I want you to be like the man that said, I believe, Lord, help my unbelief. Yeah, I believe because I want to believe. That's what, if that's you, you need to call me if you want to believe. Not if you're so stuck that you don't want to believe, because some people, they want to be right about their life. They want to be right about the fact that poverty is just their nature. And so guess what? Life is going to outpicture that. But if you listen to me and you're like, I've always felt like abundance is my birthright. Abundance. What do I mean? Because I don't want you to tie that to what you may have heard other people say before. What do I mean? Abundance in every aspect. Abundance in ideas. Abundance in relationships. Abundance in love. Abundance in prosperity. Abundance in health. Abundance in ability to be able to live and deal with people on the way and the frequency that I want to deal with them. An abundance of different opportunities. An abundance of ways of thinking. An abundance of concepts and paradigms and positions. An abundance of ways to manifest the many talents and gifts that God has given me, an abundance of avenues and vehicles to be able to bless people, an abundance of resources to be able to pour into people's lives, an abundance. I want your soul to prosper. That's what I want you to do. I want your soul to prosper. I want you to prosper yourself so much. I have people do, this is what I have people doing during the 30 days. Oh, because I didn't finish the thought. It's not the paper dollars that's really going to get you. It's the time. Because what I say is you need 60 minutes every day for those 30 days. Because I'm telling you, if you do the program, your life will change. When I see people that don't get the results, they're not doing the program. I know you're not. I know you're not. I know you're not. 3 + 3 will always equal 6. So if you're not getting it equal 6, it's a 3 + 3 not happening. I can't be at your house to see that you watch what I sent you. I can't be at your house to ask that you do the work but you're going to have work 60 minutes every day. If you don't have 60 minutes every day to assign for your own life, then I don't know what to tell you. 60 minutes every day to change your life. You got 60 minutes that if you can assign every day, I'm going to give you some new ways of thinking. I'm going to give you work to do. I'm going to give you some things that you can begin to write out. I'm going to give you some habits that you need to start doing. Then this is exclusive of that hour that I need you to block off. I need you to spend the first 1% of your day in focus time. What does that look like? That's 14 minutes and 24 seconds. I'm going to text you. I'm going to text you early in the morning. I'm texting you before the sun comes up. Today is our masterpiece. Why am I doing that? Because I want to remind you to get up with intention today. I want you to get up and get to a quiet place. First 14 minutes and 24 seconds, I want you to get to a place where you write down on a card every day what it is that you're looking to achieve. I want you to write it down. You see what we're doing? I'm going to give you practical ways of changing your life. So you got to have a target. So many of you really don't have a target. You don't have a target. You want more impact. You want more income. You want more of this. You want more of that. But you don't have a target. If I ask you money, you say lots of, or more, or a lot of, or comfortable. But I need you to write something so clear that if we put it on a check, they could cash it. I want you to write it every day. I'm going to have you writing your goals every single day. You write the vision. You make it plain so they can run with it. You're trying to get people to run with stuff you haven't written down. That's how I'm going to help you get it from a dream to a goal. A goal is written. A goal has a deadline. A goal is clear. A goal is measurable. A goal is articulated. I'm going to show you how to do that. And then I'm going to show you how to begin to do things that change your life. Okay, so maybe you don't have time right now. Don't feel positive. Don't speak on it. Don't speak on it at all. Don't complain. Don't explain. You don't have time to complain. I'm going to show you every time you complain and you blocking your money flow. Every time you get in a dispute, you ain't got time to get. So they blow at you at the, if you live in New York or a big city and somebody did something in the car or whatever and they blew at you, I don't have time to get in that dispute because working with me, I'm going to help you see it's all connected. It's all connected. I need to constantly be thinking on these things that are lovely, that are good report, that are blessing, that are spectacular, that are amazing. I know that there are times where I have bad moments, but you're not going to have a bad day working with me. You can't have a whole day. We're not going to have a whole day. You're going to call me. I'm going to talk you out of that. I'm going to talk you out of it because you're going to have to switch the frequency. You're going to have to switch the frequency. Let me give you an example. Have you ever gotten up and you were fine and you were excited and you were like probably good weather or whatever, the birds were chirping, and then you remembered you had something to do that you didn't want to do, or you remembered something that somebody said the other day, you remember the problem that you had, and you immediately got in a bad mood? I mean, you woke up fine and you had to remember, oh, I'm ticked off today. I forgot. See, I want to help you switch it the other way. I want to help you get up and you have a song on your heart, or you get up and maybe you're struggling. We all have those days, but I want to show you how to switch it. I want to show you how to put some music on and begin to switch your mind. I want to show you how don't leave your house. Don't leave your closet. Don't leave the place of your prayer until you feel like I can see it done. I can see it done. That's your most important time. I'm going to show you how to connect real prayer with fervent results. I probably said that wrong. Fervent prayer with real results. You know what I mean. You see, I'm living with power. That's why you need to read my book. That's why you need to watch my story. I'm telling you because I'm not making this up as I go along, and I'm growing. And what I'm operating on now, 2 years ago, I'm operating on a whole nother level now. And 2 years from now, it's going to be on a whole nother level. Trust me, it will be. So from now until to the 20th. So that's the 10th, that's the 11th, that's the 12th, that's the 13th, that's the 14th, that's the 15th, that's the 16th, that's the 17th, that's the 18th, that's the 19th, because those are the last days we have in the spring. I am doing a sale where if you say, Daryl, I want to do the mentorship. I have $1,500. I'm ready to invest, right? You're not going to get this for free. Stop looking for it for free. And let me tell you something. You might say, let me deal with the price right now. Because wealth mindset looks at value. Poverty mindset looks at price, right? So I want you to think about it like this way. How much have you already paid in lost opportunity? How much have you already paid because you've been mulling around with that business for as long as you've been mulling around with it? And there's somebody else that can help you do it in half the time. I wrote my first book at 18. I started my first company at 21 years old, right? I do this. This is what I do. You can have one conversation with me and it can help you with 5 years of struggle that you would have had on your own. That's what I do. I pay people to have one conversation. That's what universities do. They understand the power of that. They're not trying to learn everything. They'll hire somebody who has the information. They hire a professor. That's what I'll do. I'll sit and I'll pay for somebody and I'll sit with a couple thousand, a couple hundred, and sit with them, talk with them for 2-3 hours, talk with them for an hour. Because I understand I can get something from you and your life experience that can give me an idea that can totally change the way that I'm doing business. But see, it's a mindset thing with me. You see what I'm saying? If you're not used to paying for it, this is why sometimes people think mentorship. Well, I wouldn't pay for mentorship. Yeah, but you're paying for not having it. You see what I'm trying to say to you? You're paying for it because you've been going around the circle for 10 years. Somebody I'm talking to, it's been 5 years, you've been talking about starting that business. And you still either if you're on step 2, that's as far as you've gotten to step 2. How much does that cost you? How much does that cost you in frustration and missed opportunities? It's no telling where your income level would be now if you just did what you were supposed to do. If you stop living for other people's comments and what would other people think at the job, you know what they're going to think. I already told you what people think when you break out of their tribe, when you break out of the cage that they're into. You see crabs. I'm from Maryland, so we see crabs. They will pull you down so quick. You better not be thinking about starting a business, not in this economy. When you got people like me who coach people through the process, it's like, this is the best time to do it. Are you kidding? You better do it now. If not now, then when? See, you need somebody that's got the voice of faith in your ear and not fear. You got enough people that's talking about fear, the voice of fear. Well, how are you going to do it? Well, if you pay him, then what happens? Listen. Listen, I'm going to tell you what happens. You got a world-class expert. You got somebody that's got the blueprint. You've got a motivator, a natural-born, gifted motivator that's going to help you take your life to the next level. But see, a fearful mind is always thinking about what could go wrong. Let me just say this. For some of you that's thinking about doing this, as you're listening, don't talk to, I'm going to say something. And y'all pray for me. For real, I mean this. I'm not trying to even be funny, but I'm just saying because I don't know another way to say it. Don't consult with no broke people about paying for mentorship. Don't do it. Don't do it. If they broke and they consistently broke, they're always dealing with financial challenges, that's not the person you want to talk to about this. That's some of your problem too. You keep talking to people about starting a business and all they ever had is a job. What they know about starting a business? What do they know? What do they know? Like somebody I met, well, I had a client once. Everybody had a client once. You talking about your cousin who put some money in your hand because you twisted their braids? And I'm not dismissing that, but I'm trying to get you to understand, like, you got to get the right people that are in your ear. I had a mentor that sat down with me 4 years ago, Larry Hartman. Bless this man. Bless this brother. He ain't a brother, but you know what I mean. He sat down. He said, Daryl, you should be making 6 figures a year. You should be making 7 figures a year with the gift of communication. He's like, and I pay people that in my company, so I know you have it. You can't be taught what you have. And from that one conversation, mind you, we just had breakfast about 2 weeks ago. We're still having this ongoing conversation about, and he's one of my mentors. He's helping me take the gifts that God has already given me and how to optimize it so I can have bigger impact, bigger income, bigger platforms, bigger rooms. I want that for you. I want that for you. I want that for you. You're going to have to do the work. Jesus' work is finished. Yours just started. Some of you are hiding behind Jesus to do what you need to do. He's not going to start your business. He's not. He's not. His work is done. Your work has just started. I don't want us to be overly, superly spiritual and religious. And, well, if God's going to do it, if God wants it to get done, he's going to do it. Yeah, that's like saying if God wants my hair combed, he's going to comb it. No, you got a part to play in this. You have a part to play. So for the next 9 days, I'm offering something that I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm never offering this like this again. I mean, I'm just not, because now we're about to start doing world traveling. So I won't even have the opportunity. I won't be able to have the opportunity to do it at this cost, at this price. This is why I want to be able to do this while I'm still in the country over the next 10 days or so. Because I don't mean to sound like Jesus here. Where I'm going, you can't go. Not now. I'm preparing a place, but where I'm going, and then it's a whole different level. At that point, everything we're doing is at least 5 figures. It has to be for what we're bringing. But what are you getting? So 30 days. It's 30 days. It's going to change your life. I'm telling you. And we're dealing with mentorship. We're dealing with money. We're dealing with mindset. It's no way. I don't want to say it's the best $1,500 you've ever spent in your life, but I'm going to go ahead and say it'll be the best gift you've ever given to somebody for $1,500, because you're going to call somebody. You're going to say, look, I've got mentorship for me and you with somebody who's world-class with demonstrated results. Demonstrated results. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. What did the lady say? You flew here. I grew here. That's why I want you to read my story. That's why I want you to see all the stuff. They try to drag my name through the mud, and look how much I'm winning. Look how much God has blessed my life. Look how much, even after the adversity, how much more greatness has been added to me. That shows you. I'm obviously working with something. I'm obviously working with something for me to be operating at the level that I'm operating on and to be doing the things that I'm doing. It's God. But it's the wisdom that God has given me. And I want to impart that wisdom. Oh, so 30 days, every day you're getting videos, every day you're getting content. And then once a week, you and I are going to connect with your partner, with your battle buddy, your BB, your accountability partner. I just think mentorship has to be with 3 people. That's how we do it. It's something about 3. Because it's written somewhere that a 3-fold cord can't be easily broken. You heard? So me, you, and the person you pick. This is a great gift for someone. someone who you want to bless. Look at it that way. Someone who you want to bless. Now, if you've been blessed by what I've shared with you right here, generally, or anything you've seen on social media, imagine me 60 minutes directly focused on you. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. I'm moving with the energy that creates worlds. I'm going to introduce you to the energy that creates worlds. You remember in Hebrews where it says that we understand that the worlds were framed, they were framed by the word of God. We're not trying to get overly religious here. We just want to talk very specifically about the fact that you have God power on the inside of you, that if you begin to speak and think differently, that your thought energy and your word energy will change your circumstances. I'm a living representation of that. And you know I am. My credit is good. So over the next 9 days, before we're at 10,000, because June 20th, where this mentorship program is $10,000. I mean, it has to be for what we're doing. It has to be. And then it's global. And then it's global. So we won't be doing it here in America, right? So you're going to come see us, and it's places all over the world. But this is the last of the Mohicans. This is the last of the Mohicans. This is the last time that I'll be in America as much as I'm in America. And I want to take advantage of that. And I want to bless somebody somewhere. I want to bless somebody's. I have room for 7. I only have room for 7. That's 7 people over the next month. And you can DM me. You say, well, Daryl, do you have a payment plan? Yes, I have a payment plan. It's going to be funny to say, you pay it, and then we'll plan your next steps. I don't want to do that. How we do it is I have people that work on that, right? I have people that deal with that. I don't really get involved with that too much, but we do have payment plans. The important thing is that you make the commitment. The important thing is that you make the commitment. You're going to have to make a commitment. This is where I want to get off. If you think of steps, think of 3 steps. Think of 4 steps. Dream, desire, decision. Dream, desire, decision. Dream, desire, decision. You have a dream. I know you have a dream. That's why you listen to me. People that don't have a dream don't fool me long, because I get on their nerves, because I'm always talking about going to the next level. If you don't have a next level to go to, it won't resonate with you. I'm always talking about more. If you don't believe in your heart, there's more for your life. There's more for your soul. That there's more for your family. That there's more for your children. There's more for your children's children. You know that you were born for a greater life. Then you're not going to fool me long if you don't feel that way. But if you feel that way and it resonates within you, you have a dream. So I know you're on that step. But the dream itself won't make the change. You have the dream, but you now got to turn it into you've got to transmute it into its physical equivalent. So the next step that people get on is desire. I'm not talking about just a want that's intellectual. I'm talking about a desire. Desire lives in the body. You know, when you desire something, you feel it. You feel it. You feel it in your body. Desire. It's a deep word. It actually means of the Father. The same words we get to sire someone, son, D meaning DE of the Father. I could do a whole thing on that. But desire, what do you truly desire? Do you know for a lot of people, their dream never really turns to a desire? And you know that it's not because the way they talk about it. It's hard to talk about something that you love and it not show on your face. I'm telling you. When you talk about your desires, things shift. You talk about it differently. Your countenance changes. That happens subconsciously. You don't even have to try. You try to talk about somebody, you feel it, and not smile a little bit. You smile thinking about that person. I'm telling you, because it's desire. Some of you had desire, but then you haven't gone to the 3rd step. You haven't made a decision. And so you're frustrated, you're angry, you're talking about how, things haven't worked the way that you wanted them to work. But I'm here to tell you, did you ever make a decision? You have the dream for it, and you have the desire, yes, because you always talk about it. You have it on your vision board, and you're vociferous about it, and you're studying about it, and you're writing about it, and you're reading about it, and it's coming across your Google algorithms and all that stuff. And even your friends know about it because they're sending you stuff about it because they know that you talk about it. So you're certainly a desire, but have you made a decision? Have you made a decision? Have you made a decision? Have you decided? I have decided. I've decided. Decision is powerful. As for me and my house, this is what we're going to do. I don't know about you. I can't speak for you. I don't know about what, like my mom was saying, I'm not such and so mama. But up in here, will you make a decision? Do you know something I realized? That every time that I really made a decision in my life, the resources came along the way when I made a decision. Most times I didn't get the thing because I really hadn't made the decision because I was still working around trying to figure out how I would receive it. Will you make the decision first? Will you have a Joshua faith that will put your hand up at the sun and tell the sun to stand still, such that the scripture comes down to us through the corridors of time that never before or since has God hearkened unto the voice of man? That if you're going to have that level of faith, if you're going to make a decision that much that the sun needs to stay where it needs to stay, or at least the light needs to stay where it stays so I can finish this battle, then I'll rearrange the earth and the cosmos to make that out picture. Have you made a decision? You want to know how many people that I work with, even getting into law school or business school, and I coach them through the process, and they never really made the decision. They never made the decision to go. Ain't that crazy? They desire to go. They dream to go. They talk about going. They never made the decision. It never really became a decision. It wasn't so, you know when something's a decision because there's no turning back. You know it's a decision. But think about when you made a decision. Think about the last time you decided, I'm going. I'm going. I'm going. And nothing was going to pull you aside. But I told you it was 4 steps, and I gave you 3. I said desire. I said dream. I said desire. I said determination. I'm going to give you the 4th step, and then I'm going to go. The 4th step, most people never see the step. Before I tell you the step, I need to tell you about the step. Most people never see the step. You never see the step. This is a step that will pull on everything that you have. This is a step that everybody, let me take that back, has probably seen in some levels really small. You know, like they really wanted that bike and they got the bike, but they don't use this principle at higher levels. And this is why they remain stuck. You want to know that 4th level? It's a level that's so strong. And Johann van Goethe says that when you get to this level, the universe will conspire for your success. This is where I heard it put another way. Be bold and mighty forces will come to your aid. Bold. I want you to go from dream to desire to decision to determination. Yeah. Determination. A word on determination, then I'm going to go. Determined. That's how the mother, who's not even 100 pounds, can flip the car off of her infant son. Determination. I'm telling you, determination. Determination moves mountains. Determination makes people take notice of you that wouldn't have taken notice before. Determination will have people say to you, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I don't even know why I'm helping you. Because determination pulls from a deeper place. It's determination. I dare you to get determined about what it is that you want to succeed at. Now, this is the thing. I'm going to bring it all together. You're going to have a target. You're going to work with me. You're not even going to put $1,500 in my hand without a target. I get that. And I respect that. And I don't want you to give it to me without the target. So for some of you, that's the problem. You don't even have a target. You don't have a target. You don't have a target. But if you have a target, you're not going to call me at dream state because you're going to do it on your own. You've been doing it on your own. Even at desire, right? I'm not the man at desire. That's why I had to end there to give you the whole breakdown. I need you to understand my methodology. I was working with people at desire and I was getting frustrated. They were getting frustrated. But desire is not enough. I'm telling you, it's not enough not with me. I'm world class at what I do. I went to the best schools in the world. I say that I say that with pride. And I graduated at the top of my class. I know what rigor looks like. I go hard in the paint. Yeah, I'm telling you. When you tell me where it is you want to go, I'm going to make sure over the next 30 days, I'm in your face. We're going to strategize this thing together. You hear me? You're going to have a thought partner that's going to help push you to the next level. It's impossible. I'm telling you, it's never been a person. You can check my resume. Call anybody that's ever dealt with me for any amount of time. Ask them at any point if they've been the same. Then they may not have gotten, in full disclosure, where they wanted to get. But nobody going to tell you, I work with him and I still think the same. Anything, I work with him and I'm not calling that Negro back because he had told me this, this, and this. And until I fix this, this, and this, I'm ashamed to call him back. You shouldn't feel that way. But I'm here to tell you, I don't play this. So I don't work with people at Desire. You're not going to want to deal with me at Desire because you still haven't made the decision. But if you get to 3, this is why I need to give you the levels. If you have 3, you say, Daryl, I made a decision. This is you, and I don't want you to make the decision in January because most people in January, they made the decision to pilot their own ship. You got your plan, you wrote it on your vision board. So now we're halfway in the year. How's it working for you? You could have worked with somebody like me. I could have helped you get 5 times the amount of money you're probably looking for if we thought partnered together. We leverage. I can show you how to use technology, how to automate, how to innovate. Don't you get that? Don't you understand that I'm bringing resources? I'm bringing relationships. I'm introducing you to people. I'm helping you to think differently. Do you understand? I had to figure out how to get a 6-figure income without leaving the state of New York because of personal challenges that I was going through. I had to figure that out. How do we do this? So when you work on me, I'm giving you a roadmap. I'm giving you resources, relationships, introductions. This isn't just you and I talking about what was on Netflix. But my point is, when you get to decision, when you say, you know what, I made a decision, and this has to be the decision. The decision can't be I've had enough, because what does that mean? People get me with that. I had a teacher. I know because my teachers were some of the biggest influence in my life. I had a teacher, Miss Willie. I'll never forget Miss Willie. Miss Willie wasn't 4'11". Miss Willie was probably 5'2". But Miss Willie was still was a mess. She would always say, I had enough to hear with your foolishness. I don't know why I brought her up, but I think of her because every time people are like, I'm done. I'm done. They always done. The decision can't be a past decision. Listen to me. All jokes aside, it's got to be a future decision. What does that mean? You call me when you say, you know what? I've decided I'm starting a business, and in the next 3 months, I want to bring in $10,000 in my business, or I want to have a different level of calling. I want to be in a different career in the next 3 months. It has to be that level of decision. It can't just be a decision that I want to change my life, right? Because then you're still going to get tired of me. You need something that's strong enough that when I am with you, because I'm going to be with you, and I'm going to walk you through this whole process, that you realize you're not doing it for me. Yeah, because I'm going to hold your feet to the fire every week. Yeah, 60 minutes. We talking. No, we can't miss this week. You didn't miss this week to eat. Why are we going to miss this week on your dream? Why are we going to miss this week on your calling? Why are we going to miss this week that this could be the week where we get the idea that helps bring your whole family out of poverty? No, you didn't put the money in my hands for me to take it easy. No. We're spending this time together because it was a goal that you set. But if you're at 4, you definitely need to holler at me. Determination. 4 is the person, because I'm seeing people go on and on. 4 is the person that keeps staying on here. That's 4. That's what 4 looks like. 4 says it's nothing else is more important than me getting this thing done. That's what 4 says. That's what determination. That's another level. 4 is what I did earlier. Remember, I got this call earlier in the broadcast. I know I keep saying 5 minutes, and I'm an hour into the thing. But you know, y'all pulling on me. But let me tell you, toward the beginning, if you watch, I got a call. I just shut the whole thing off because I don't have time to be pulled away in any way from any distraction from what my calling is. This is what determination looks like. I'm just giving you that with the phone. Will you turn everything off? Determination says, you know what, Daryl, I can't do another day at that job. I'm gonna have to because I gotta finish out my time and I gotta give them at least my 2 weeks. But I decided in 30 days, I'm at a new job. I'm in a new career. And this is the career that God put in my heart for me to be at. That's when you call me. People like that, that's the people I want to work with. Because that's what you're gonna need. Now, you're gonna need that to hold you through. 4 is determination. Now, if you have determination, I definitely want you to call me. Because where 2 or 3 are gathered, there the divine is in the midst. You can get somewhere faster when you have somebody like me that's in your corner, that's pushing you along, that's giving you wisdom, giving you resources. You can get further. You need mentorship. I'm telling you, you need mentorship. You need it. You cannot do this on your own. If you could do it on your own, you would have done it on your own. And can I just say this for somebody? Get past the age thing. Get past the age thing. Most of the people that I work with, I'm not going to say that. Half the people I work with are in their 20s. The other half, so let me not say half. 30% are in their 20s. 30% are in their 50s and 60s. So we got to get past that. I'm not looking at them as far as age, and I hope they're not looking at me as far as age, because it's not really about that. It's not about that. It's about the fact that I have a blueprint. I have a system that I've seen bring success, and I want to show you the system. I want to show you how to get out of your own way. I want to show you how to pull the emergency brake off. Some of you, I got to get off here. I know I got to get off here, but some of you talk to yourself so bad. You talk to yourself so bad, and it's hurting your money flow. I'm telling you it is. I hear people say that, I just can't get it right. You know, every time you say that, if you can imagine an imaginary account somewhere that is just debiting money, I want you to think about it like that. Because what you're doing is you are creating in the ether a blockage that's stopping opportunities, resources, people, ideas, intuitions, insights, and inspirations from coming to you. But imagine if you change that and say, you know what, I am blessed and highly favored. I always come out with great ideas. I'm always doing wonderful. Can you be struggling with lack in your bank account, but still speak positivity over your life? That's what I'm asking you. I'm asking you, because I came into this knowledge in prison. So I need somebody to kind of understand this. I didn't come into this on the mountaintop. I came into it in a dark place, and I saw that it worked for me, and I saw that I was able to coach other people through it. And now I know it's a time that I can do it at a higher level for more people. But I like I said, again, I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. So that I don't want you to hear this from a perspective of, well, you got it, so that's why you're talking about it. No. I didn't have it, which is why I was seeking for it. See, seeking you'll find. I know you heard that in a religious sense. You need to make it practical. You need to seek. You need to seek so you can find. You need to seek wisdom. You need to seek wisdom. You need to seek understanding. You need to seek high ways of thinking. You need to seek another way of looking at your life. You need to seek a better way of operating. You need to seek another paradigm. That tape that's running in the back of your head that keeps trying to tell you what you can be and what you can't do, you need to shift that. You need to shift the way that you use the word of God to inform your life. For some of you, religion has become a blockage. I'm going to just say it. It's become a blockage. Half of it because of what you call Christianity is really white supremacy here in America. That's a whole nother thing. People have passed that off as something else. I'm not talking pure Christianity. I'm not talking about really following Christ and the teachings of Christ and the way of Christ, the way, the truth, and the life. I'm talking about this stuff that got cloaked in religiosity and it's keeping people back. The people that told you that you needed to be poor, they are amassing wealth and they're living in palaces in Rome. That's what the Vatican is. But they told you to take a vow of poverty. You see the BS, the belief system. I'm not cursing at you. It's the belief system. It's your BS that's holding you back. It's your BS that came to you religious-wise. Your religious BS, religious belief system. Your religious belief system. Your educational belief system. Your racial belief system. Your racial belief system. Black people got to work twice as hard to get half as far. You keep saying it, and that's going to keep happening in your life. You keep saying it, and you take pride in saying it. I had to work hard for everything I had. Guess what? And you're going to keep working hard as long as you speak it. But imagine shifting that conversation and say, I'm blessed and highly favored. Everything I touch turns to gold. People are looking to give me things. Goodness and mercy are chasing me down. You need to pray like David prayed. You talk about dancing like David danced. You need to pray like he prayed. that goodness and mercy are following me. You know, the transliteration is chasing me. Imagine if every time you look at your bank account, you started speaking positivity over it. Every time you handed somebody $1, if you said to yourself and you said it, that this is coming back to me in greater resources so that way I can give to more people. What would your life look like? You know something that I learned? I don't even give when I'm in a state of negativity. I don't pay my bills in a state of negativity. I don't. If I can't smile about it, I'm not sending the bill. And if I can't smile about it, I'm not sending the money to nobody, nowhere. I had to learn that. Stop giving out of obligation. Stop giving with a heart if you really don't want to do it, but I feel like if I don't do it, I'm going to be condemned. No, give thanks from a cheerful heart. I want to bring you out of the roteness of doing things just to do it and to start asking. That's what I even ask people. I get all up in your business like that. How much are you giving? Because if you're not giving nothing, then you're definitely not going to be receiving. I don't even work with people long that don't give, because then you're going to get tired of me keep talking about where you're giving. Who are you giving to? I'm not talking about every now and again something that falls out of your change cup. It needs to, from the very beginning, 10% of everything you get at least needs to be put into another account. It needs to be removed. It needs to be put aside. I'm not talking from a religious place. I'm talking about a place of understanding. God gave you everything. People get me with that. God gave you the job. God gave you the breath to be able to even interview. God gave you the ideas to say the right thing. God gave you the favor to even walk up in there when there were 100 other people that could have gotten the interview. God gave you the health to be able to do any of it. So by the time we get to God gave me a job or God gave me the money, you like 12 steps into it. Everything you have is because the divine imparted it into your life. So yeah, you need a lifestyle of giving. I'm going to be on you about that. You better have a lifestyle of giving. Let me tell you something. People that have poverty mentality, they don't give. Those be the stingy ones. People get me with that. Talking about, but yeah, let me get off. But those be the stingy ones, I'm telling you. When you start getting a bigger vision for what you want to give, you start getting a bigger vision for what you want to get. If you heard it right, then it doesn't sound paradoxical. If you heard it right, because you start with the giving, you start recognizing there's so much I want to do, there's so much I want to give, there's so much I want to build for the kingdom. Think about in your heart what you really would love to do for people, what you would really love to do. Think about it for 1 second. How is somebody in your life, who's that person just came in your mind, right? How you would really want to bless them. You really want to bless them. But what's holding you back? Keep it real. You ain't got it. That's what's holding you back. That's what's holding you back. And part of what I hope people do, and this is what I love that scripture in James that says, you have not because you ask not. And then when you ask from a place of mixed vibration. I know I'm paraphrasing. You ask duplicitously. You ask from your own account. You're not even clear about what you're asking for. What do I mean from a place of mixed vibration? You complain about people that have money, but yet you want it. Money ain't everything, but yet you're secretly looking for it. Nobody ever said money was everything, but it's going to help me bless more people. I need you to get clear on that. I was talking to somebody. I said, where's your money go? Where's your money go? Well, I'm just going to let the Lord provide. See, you know what? Well, that type of person is not going to deal with me anyway. They're not going to fool with me. They're not going to fool with me because I'm going to let you keep in that, I don't want to call it a wilderness, but in that space that you're at where you, when God, and they said something about where God guides, God provides, something religious. And I was just like, okay, all right, I got you. Right. We got a live one. But because you're probably not a decision when you're there. Because when you have a decision, you're clear about where you're going. Right. And I understand some people just don't, maybe you don't want to give me the goal because you don't know me like that. But you know when people made the decision because they clear on it. I may not tell you, but I know where I'm going. But I want you to start thinking differently about it, because if I could get you to start thinking differently about your life, I'm telling you, if I get you to start thinking differently about your life, if I could get you to start thinking differently about the calling, there's countries that you've been assigned to go to, but it's going to take resources for you to get there. That's why you need to call me. This ain't about just you get more money so you can get a bigger house, you can get a bigger car. That's not what this is about. This is partly why I think when we hear people say things like you're meant to be abundant, we buck against it because you think abundance is about having another Mercedes Benz. And it's not about that. It's not. It's about being able to bless people. It's about being able to bless people. How would your life look differently if you had $100 every day you could just give? You could just give. You wouldn't have to think about it. You wouldn't have to stress about it. You wouldn't have to pray before you gave it. Because some of you praying about stuff you don't need to be praying about. Almost like they were praying over their bills. You need to pay. And when you finish praying, you pray for an idea so you can get wealth. But that bill, it doesn't just go away. Because somebody paid for somebody gave those services. So God's not going to go back on his word there. Right? We got to get practical. We got to get practical. And I want to help you think differently about the fact that if I had more resources, what could I do differently? If I had double the income that I have now, who could I bless? Who could I bless? How much of my prayer list would get wiped right off right now if I had an extra 500,000 sitting in my account? What would that look like? All right, let's make it 100,000. Let's make it another 100,000. So you see where we are connecting it. We are connecting it. You're going to call a man of God like me, a smart man, a powerful man, an intelligent man, and say, you know what? I have $1,500 because I know with $1,500 over the next month, it's going to change my whole way of thinking. And you're going to give me another way of operating such that my lifetime earning potential is never going to be the same again. Because we're talking about practical things. I don't want you to be ignorant and unawares or just be blown with the wind by someone who comes with eloquence. They got to come in power and demonstrated authority to show you this is where I was then and you saw me then and this is how I built this now and watch how I did it. I want to show you there's a garden that God is meant to put you in. You're meant to be in. There's a garden. 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 There's a garden of blessings. There's a garden of fulfillment. There's a garden. I don't know who I'm on here for. There's a garden. I'm going to get off. But I'm going to get off when I feel led to get off because there's a garden. And I don't want you to spend your whole life toiling. I don't want you to spend your whole life working for other people. I don't want you to spend your whole life thinking that it's about, life is about getting paper dollars with old people's faces on it. It's more important than that. I don't want you to think life is about toiling. You know, that was the curse. That was the curse. People said, oh, you got kicked out of the garden, you had to work. No. He got kicked out of the garden, they had to toil. They were always meant to work. But work came from a place of joy. Work came from a place of creativity. You remember the work he had in the garden? Tend it and name the animals. Creativity, innovation. You see, discernment. That's what Adam's work was. Then they did the baloney. I had to remember where I was. Sorry, y'all work with me. Then they did the mess that they did, and the whole concept of work changed. Work went from being creative and innovative, designing, discerning, and it became about toiling. It became about hardship. It became about when is the ground going to bring out more fruit, more herbs. Do you notice when you read that story closely? People weren't even really eating herbs. That's a whole nother thing. The herbs were for the animals to eat. People were eating the fruit of the vine. Somehow with the fall and all the other stuff that got messed up, part of what got messed up is now you're eating herbs. Then you come about 1,000 years later, now we're eating animals. When do we deal with all the stuff we're dealing with? It wasn't meant to be like this. It wasn't meant. This was not meant to be like this. I don't want to say this wasn't the plan because God in his sovereign knowledge already knew and had a way of escape. But this was not the perfect plan for humanity. Or let me not say that in my understanding. This right here, it was supposed to look different. Your whole concept of a job. Think about how much time you spend at a job. Think about that. Think about how many waking hours. Think about it. There's a website that I was looking at just the other day, and I forget the name of it now. I forgot to turn the phone off. But it's a website where I was calculating how many hours I've been alive. I was bored. I was bored. But I was also going through something, and I wanted to see how many hours it said I'd been alive. And it can calculate it. It puts in the day of your birth, and it spits out a number. Now, if you say to me, ever since I was 20 years old, I've worked 40 hours a week, pretty much more or less for since I was 20, we can start to get a number for how many hours you work, how many hours you've been alive, and how much of that time you work for a job, and what do you have to show for it? I'm telling you, that when you really think about that, that'll make you go drink if you're not a drinker. That'll make you go drink if you don't do it the right way. That will. That'll make you go do some drugs or try to find any way to numb the pain. Because you look up and you say, how the hell did this happen? There was a time when I believed that I could be great. There was a time where I believed I could change the world. I'm talking to you. You knew that there was a time when you had in your heart, first of all, you said, I ain't going to be like them. Because you saw what was going on with your parents or guardians, people taking care of you. I don't even know who I'm talking to. And you sat there with bitter tears rolling down your face and you swore, I'll never be like them. I'll never be like them. I'll never be like them. And you had all these dreams for your life and aspirations and all these things you said you were going to do. And then life happened. I'm not here to beat you down. I'm not here to beat you down, make you feel like, what happened? No. Life happened. Life happened. Life happened. Kids, divorces, having to take care of people in the family, jobs, life. Sometimes you can't even necessarily put your finger on it. Life happened. Those couple years passed, they just passed. Bad relationships, drama. So much of life, we're trying to figure out life. Isn't that a trip when you think about it? T.D. Jakes said something that he heard somebody say to him that changed my whole life, me hearing what he heard. He said his father said something to him that messed his whole life up. I'm paraphrasing. He didn't say messed his life up. He said it changed his life. He did say that. He said his father said to him, by the time I realized what this whole thing called life is about, it was time for me to go. Now, if you follow Bishop Jakes, you've heard him say that his father died younger than what he felt like he should have, and he kind of lived a hard life. Could you imagine how sad that would be? To by the time you realize what it's all about, it's time to go. By the time you realize that you were here to create, not just observe. By the time you realize that you had God power on the inside of you. By the time you realize that it wasn't even about that job. The whole point of the job was just so you could be sustained enough so you could thrive on what you were meant to do. But yet you spent so much time, energy, focus, thought, energy, and everything on all of the struggles of your life that you had nothing left to be creative. When you had time to be creative? When did you have time to really do what was in your heart to do? Because you kept putting that off. And you made other people's inbox the priority. You made other people's problems your assignment. You made other people's life the center of your universe. And in doing so, you missed out what you were supposed to do. And I want to talk to mothers. Because I know the way of a woman is hard. I know, I don't mean that in any other disrespect, but I got to say it the way that I know to say it. I know that the way of a woman is hard. Not from knowing it, because what do I know beyond what I've experienced and seen? I get one cramp on the side of my stomach after I've eaten a particularly maybe bad meal. And I'm like, I don't know how moms go through this. Then they have the children and even the way of a woman going through every month, whatever. But I bring this up to say, there's so many mothers, you gave up your life so that way you could raise your children. And you know, I want to be careful and tread lightly how I say this, but this is what I want to say. You're setting everybody up for failure. Your children can't be your God. You had a purpose before you had those children, and you're going to resent them. I'm telling you, you're going to resent them. And if you don't resent them, you're going to subconsciously do things that make them feel like you resent them because you put your whole life aside saying you were raising them instead of recognizing that that's part of your destiny, but that's not your whole destiny. Some of the people that I work with, it's mothers who just come to me and say, I want to do this for me now. My whole life, I've lived for other people. I've lived for the guy. I live for my children. But I want to do this for me. I think that's where I'll leave you. Do this for you. You've done so many things for so many people in so many ways. But you know what? I want you to do this for you. I want you to do this for you. My name is Daryl J. Bennett.